almost 6 o'clock. We'll give everybody just another few seconds here to join.
We're not on video.
Nope, no video, just audio.
All right.
So you didn't need to get dressed up for this, Andy.
You
did anyway.
I even shine my forehead.
Andy and Bridget, I love the new intro that you did for the Cat Chat show. That was so cool.
Nice, thank you.
All right, it is 6 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. We have a good crowded room to start tonight. I'm probably, everybody here in the room, maybe not everyone, knows Andy and Bridget. And so we have asked them to come tonight by popular demand of our audience to come and just talk a little bit about your journey to Big Cat Rescue and anything else you want to tell us about, maybe your foster kitties at home and that kind of thing. So if you guys want to take it away, and then when you're done speaking, then we'll see who has questions or comments and likes to talk to you.
All right.
All right. Do you want to start first? Your story's a little bit shorter than mine. Or do you want me to go first?
Are you saying I have less to contribute to the conversation?
I did not say that. Don't put words in my mouth.
All right. Well, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Andy. Obviously, I'm part of Big Cat Rescue, and I volunteer there. I'm a green shirt partner, senior partner. Let's see what else. We started in 2015, right? So
I think so.
I think I started in May of 2015, but a month after Bridget started. And my job there generally was to help out in the gift shop and just take care of odds and ends type stuff. Try to make sure tours were doing what tours were supposed to do, and give some tours, right? And generally just make the place enjoyable and a whole ton of fun for our volunteers, and make sure everybody was smiling when they left, right? And understood exactly what our mission was.
Yeah. What do you do now, since we're closed for COVID?
Well, kind of stuff like this, and still have fun and let people know that we're good peeps over here, and we do what we can to save the cats and do some outreach stuff and make people smile and enjoy everything that is Big Cat Rescue. It's pretty amazing what everybody's done over there, and what people have come together to do, and it's kind of like one massively huge family with an extended family that's millions large. I mean, it's quite a special thing.
Yeah, Big Cat Rescue is definitely unique in that it's a place where you connect with, you go there for the cats, but then you end up connecting with humans. I first found Big Cat Rescue probably 8 or 9 years ago, I think. My mom was visiting, she was visiting Florida, and it was in the fall. It was closer to her birthday, and she was going to head home before I was actually going to get to celebrate her birthday. So I was looking around for something super unique to do, and she's always been a cat person, and that's kind of how I became a cat person, is because my mom was such a cat person. And I found some things that sort of were not kind to animals that you could interact with. It was cub petting and cubs as props, and I decided that wasn't the route I wanted to go, and I found Big Cat Rescue. And back then, Big Cat Rescue was giving afternoon tours during the week, and then they gave the feeding tour at the end of the day because that's when they fed the cats. So I booked the 3 o'clock day tour, and then I also booked the feeding tour right thereafter for my mom and myself. And as soon as I walked out the back door of what was then the very small gift shop, or the gift shop, the freestanding gift shop that wasn't attached to the expansion. As soon as I walked out the back door, Riza was there in that enclosure, and immediately I fell in love, and I just could not stop talking about Big Cat Rescue to anybody who would listen to me. And I ended up going 2 more times, I think, before I finally filled out the form online to become a volunteer.
Yeah, you did the first time. I think you did go with your mom, right?
Yeah, and then I went with Shelly and Nisha, and then I think not Nisha, intern Nisha. We have a friend named Nisha, and then I think your parents came down and we took them, and that's when you.
Yeah, you took me along.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, this place is great. Look around. It's so cool. And, oh, by the way, I'm volunteering here. And I'm like, what? I only see you, like, on the weekends. And now you're taking away half of the... Oh, man. So a month went by, and next thing you know, I'm volunteering there.
Yeah. I started slow. I started just as a red shirt, and I did not go onto the keeper side for probably a full year, I think. I think I spent a full year in the gift shop. I just really loved giving tours. I loved being a backup. I loved all of the things. I really, at one point in time, I think I had every single cat story on the tour path memorized. And I could give the end speech, probably in my sleep. And so I really had loved that. And then someone was like, when are you going to be a keeper? And I was like, oh, I guess I hadn't really even thought about that. I should probably start thinking about that. And I, started thinking about it, and I realized it's something I wanted to do. And so, but I didn't want to give up being a partner as well. So in the beginning, I did an equal balance of being a red shirt keeper and a red shirt partner. And then as I graduated into the yellow shirts, into a yellow shirt, I kind of predominantly focused on being a keeper. And then I really missed being a partner. So for a while there, when I got my green shirt, I was doing about the same amount of hours. Like I would put in a full 32 hours to be a senior keeper, and then I would probably put in 24 to 32 hours being a partner as well.
That's a month. Yeah, that's not a week, just so everybody.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's in an entire month. That's in an entire month. Those hours are monthly, not weekly. But yeah, I started, I think, in April of 2015.
Yeah.
And I've not stopped showing up to Big Cat Rescue for 6 years now? 6.5.
Something like that. Is it 6.5? Yeah. I think I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Sounds about right.
So, along the way, we've kind of evolved, in our home and in our businesses, and obviously COVID has changed things. We went from living apart from each other every single week and every of the year pretty much, to now Andy's living at home, and we get to see each other every day, but we still get to volunteer together, which is a really nice thing. And I have my days where I go in without Andy and I do my keeper thing, and I get to take care of the cats, and then we have our time together as senior partners, and that's a really enjoyable thing that we get to share. So that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But long before we were at Big Cat Rescue, we were fostering. For the SPCA. We started fostering as soon as we moved into our house.
Yeah, we fostered a long time.
10 years. We've been fostering 10 years together.
Yeah.
And that's something.
Is that it?
Yeah, because we bought the house in 2010, and then in the spring of 2011, we started fostering.
I thought we fostered before we moved in.
No, because we lived in an apartment at the time.
Yeah, we just had a lot of cats in an apartment.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Foster Fail Central.
Yeah, I had fostered most of my. I think when I was in high school, when I started high school, maybe even earlier, my mom was fostering kittens for the Humane Society of my hometown, and my dad was sort of, grudgingly willing to be okay with us fostering cats. And I remember, we would have a cage in the middle of the kitchen, because that was the biggest space we had for fostering, and that you could still get around. And instantly, I fostered domestic cats. As soon as we started it, I knew that this was something that I was going to continue into adulthood. And we took some time off. I took some time off to go to college and move in with Andy Sardone and get married and move to Florida and figure out a home. But cats have been a part of my life since before I was born. My mom had cats before she met my dad. And so cats have been a part of my life all my life. And I think there was a very short amount of time when I didn't have a cat in my life. And that was when you decided we were dog people. And I very clearly made you realize the error of your ways. No offense, dog people. I like dogs. Cats are superior.
Yeah, a little pro tip for anybody out there that's trying to convince their significant other to get a dog. Don't make the first one the biggest one.
Oh my gosh, she was a giant dog. She was Great Dane, German Shepherd mix. She was huge.
She was a ball of energy.
She was huge.
Yeah, I remember one day I'll never forget it, walking in and you're trying to play with her and she was so big, you fell on the floor and she grabbed the cuff of your pants and dragged you across the floor playing with you.
Yeah.
And
she was huge.
And she wasn't trying to hurt you. She was just like, haha, I can do this too. Yeah, you hit the rope. I got your pants now. That was fun.
But my main job here at Big Cat Rescue is to help take care of cats. And as I like to always say, as a GFAS facility, we are a member of the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. So when I talk about caring for the cats, I am definitely talking about not touching, because that's one of the criteria, to be GFAS accredited, is to not touch your animals. So I help feed the cats. I clean enclosures, which includes picking up poop and washing out water bowls. And I help with sickles, and I help with food prep, and I help with chores sometimes at the end of the day if I'm there that long. And then when I'm a partner, I get to hang out with Andy and interview people and do walkabouts and, kind of do the more, less Bridget to cat and more Bridget to person work, I guess. So,
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, that's kind of the history.
That's kind of the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, I guess that's the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. Should we open it up to questions now?
I guess that's the policy. Like we now it's time to let.
Hold on. Let me send Deb a message.
Right? Yeah. Just text her real quick.
We're pretty good at that, Andy.
No.
Behind the scenes texting. So before we open it up to everybody else, Carole, did you guys either one have anything you wanted to say or questions you wanted to ask before we open it up to everybody else?
I just have a quick. Don't I always have a question? You don't even have to ask.
I should know that by now.
Of course I have a question. Unless it's TMI, can you just tell us, did you meet through a cat thing? A big cat or a little cat?
No.
It is not too much information. No.
We like this story.
We do like this story.
It was like before.
It was, yeah. So
before all the mainstream kids came
Andy and I met online, and this was before like Match.com or eHarmony or any of those things. This was back at the very beginning. So for those of you millennials who grew up with the internet, Andy and I did not, and so this was sort of at the beginning of the internet when you had AOL chat rooms and Yahoo chat rooms, and he and I were both in a chat room for skateboarding because we did that back in the day when we were younger and our bones healed faster. I saw that he was from New York State, Western New York, and I messaged him because I was obsessed with all things New York City, and I assumed that they were all the same, which they're not.
They're identical.
They are not.
They're all identical.
No, we're not going to do this right now, because you're just going to tell me that anything you can get in New York City, you can get anywhere else in New York, and that's not true.
Seriously.
It is not. But anyway, so I had messaged him, and I was like, so I see you're from New York. What's that like? How is that? And I kind of messaged him anytime he was on, there was and I saw he was on, I'd be like, hey, let's talk, and we just got to talking, and we talked for 2 years before we actually met in person.
Lots of people ask us like, hey, how do you guys like not kill each other? And you guys seem like really good friends. Why is that? And I think the biggest thing is how we met. It wasn't like a dating app where you instantly see the person, and it wasn't like we bumped into each other at a bar or anything like that. It was, we talked to each other and vetted each other out, became best friends, and next thing you know, we're sitting, on a couch in our house, talking to a bunch of people on about big cats. And so yeah.
So it was definitely not cat related. And just to give you an idea, we spent hundreds of dollars on phone cards.
Thousands. Those phone bills were absolutely insane.
Because this was back in the day of long distance. There were no cell phones, and if you did have a cell phone, it was like you had to like sparingly use it. It was for like emergencies only, and texts were like 10 cents per text.
Oh my gosh, I had 3 jobs just to pay for our cell phone bill in college. That was not. I mean, we're talking like 4 digits plus sometimes. It was just.
We spent a lot of time on the phone.
Those little blue phones. I mean, I don't know how half my face isn't cooked off from those things. I mean, it's so hot.
Yeah.
And then let's see, 2 years go by, and then we finally
meet in person.
Yeah, we finally meet in person at the Syracuse airport. Picked her up from the airport, and then we went out with my friends, and somehow she stuck around.
I don't know if it was for you, but for me, it was love at first sight. I'll be honest. As soon as I saw you, I was like, I knew you were going to be the man I was going to marry. I knew you were going to be my person for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I kind of got the same feeling.
Yeah.
Actually, I definitely did. But
nice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all went down.
And then COVID hit, and now I'm stuck at the house. Sucker.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoy you guys so much. I love you, and you're amazing, and you're adorable and hysterical. So I'll pass it on to the next person. But
thank you.
Thank you. That was very cool. Very, very cool. Thanks.
That really does explain a lot as far as how you guys have such a rapport out there talking and walking and doing all that stuff at the same time while you're handling all of the technical issues of all the different equipment that we've been trying out there whenever you're going live. So I love that story. That was just great. Absolutely great. My question for each of you is if you have a mission statement as to, for each of you, what your mission statement would be in life.
Ooh, I've got mine. Do you have
ask
yours?
my salespeople this every day, and you know what? I've never sat down to really think about it.
Oh, all right.
Like, cumulatively, it'd be like eight books long.
Do you want to think about it while I give my mission statement?
Eat more pancakes? Yeah, go for it.
My mission statement is to help. It's 2 simple words, but my goal in life and the way I've always lived my life is to help. And whether that be to help animals or to help a small business grow and become, more successful and more stable in my local community, or to help foundations that I believe need, voices. My mission in life is to help, and that's, whether to help people become more independent, or to help people, in any aspect of their life where I can. That's ultimately my mission is to help. So that would be my life mission statement, and I think that's kind of always been the way I've been.
That's beautiful.
Yes. Mine is to make sure that the human element is not taken out of things. For example, with the Saturday walkabouts, to make sure that people are having fun and people know that there's good things going on in the world. And then even in the gift shop, it was raise the rapport and make sure everybody's happy, because happy people stick around. They're productive, and they enjoy the people that are around them. And to create those environments that make sure that people not only feel safe in them but can express themselves properly, like the way that they want to express themselves, which may not be appropriate to everybody, as many of you may have noticed. But we go through life every single day with Facebook and Twitter and all these random engagements that we have with people, but yet the human element is never really at the forefront. Right? We're just trying to get our words across on the screen and hope that somebody out there cares. And with Big Cat Rescue, like giving the tours and giving the online tours with Cat Day Walkabout, and even with this with the cat show now, it's all and always will be about the people. And for me, it's always been that way. It's always been people first. And if the people are happy, and if the people are enjoying you, and if the people are enjoying each other, you're guaranteed to have success. Whether it's the success that you initially wanted in the first place, or the success that you're gonna, it might slightly change. It will be there because everybody around you is enjoying their time with you and their time with each other. And that stems into my work too. Is that if teaching virtually has been interesting, but if my sales consultants are feeling down, they need to have like an outlet, and so I try to provide them with that so they can know that, hey, there's a human on the other end, and it's not just another talking head. And then that creates an environment for them where they can outreach to each other and enjoy each other's time, which is critically important. And like I said, every day some new social media platform comes on that tries to pull that away from us a little bit, and if we can increase engagement, and it automatically will increase happiness.
Are you guys both on the volunteer appreciation team?
I was on the volunteer appreciation team. I did end up stepping back because my job became more demanding, and so it was getting harder for me to balance that additional responsibility. And so I did end up stepping away from the appreciation team simply because I had to choose. I choose certain things, and that unfortunately was not one of the things that I ended up getting to choose. But when I was on the appreciation team, I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Yeah, both of you sound like you were absolutely made for it, and I thought that Bridget was. I didn't remember if Andy was, but I'm sure you guys are encouraging and appreciating people in your own way. So thank you so much for that, and I will hand the mic over to Andrew.
What am I doing?
I don't know.
Am I doing my mission statement part again? Because I will.
I'll think it's something completely different.
You're good, Andy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Today is.
I'm sorry. Carole Judge.
Hello.
Hey, Carole.
Hey, how are you?
Carole without any. I knew I wasn't completely out of my mind.
Well, mostly known as CJ, just because of being called Carole to eliminate confusion.
All right, CJ.
I found VCR back in 2014 and began my learning journey by watching all the videos on the Big Cat Rescue channel, which was about 500 at the time, and then started on Daily Big Cat and found the Cat Chat shows. And I did get through the majority of them. I think I made it up to around 50 or so before other things started intervening and I didn't have as much time. But I'm really excited to know that you guys are going to be starting them up again. And I wondered if you could spill anything, give us any previews about anybody that you might have lined up or hope to get, or is that like a top secret list?
Well, it's not. It's right now. It's not really a top secret list. Carole shot me a suggestion yesterday that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. It's kind of a one-liner email, so I got to go with Carole on that one. But that sounds super interesting. I know I gave you lots of details there. And then,
you can talk about the show coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go for it. I know nothing about it. Go for it.
Oh no, I was going to say we have we have a former Big Cat Rescue volunteer who lives in South Africa now. We have her on standby, and then we have an outreach person from our local SPCA. We've got her on standby, but I'll let you talk about the most recent one that's coming up from Conservation Game.
I have very little details. Carole could actually probably give you more details on that than I can. I just need to reach out to the person on Monday. But and then we've been kicking around the idea because Carole mentioned something, and we thought maybe we'll just make this a thing like a once a month sort of deal, and we still may. So this might just be like a subsection of what we might do, but there's a possibility of also doing something along the lines like a volunteer spotlight, where we just have a fun conversation for about an hour. I really had no idea how easy it was to pull together a podcast, other than the editing part and figuring out how Carole actually spells her name. That was, oh my gosh. But yeah, so there's possibly a volunteer spotlight piece coming up for anybody, any of the volunteers that would like to go ahead and do it. So, I was going to start with Deb, but Deb won't get on camera. And so, but fortunately it is going to be, I'm going to try to focus, Bridget and I really haven't talked about this though. I'm going to try to focus that more on the podcast side of things, because I feel that might be a way for people to, kind of connect a little bit more easily, instead of having to sit there in front of the computer the whole time to watch it.
Yeah.
But there will be more once we start to get our groove and dig into this thing.
This is still really in like its infancy stage for us. It's just sort of very, very beginning.
We'll start sending out the emails and hitting people up, and I'd really love to go ahead and get people in, our representatives on to go ahead and tell us what they think of the Big Cat Public Safety Act, and even from the good, bad, ugly side, what's everybody feeling about this stuff, and then maybe we can, it's nice to hear all the sides, and then we'll convert them.
Oh, I'm leaving that one for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, CJ.
Yeah, CJ.
Hi, Chris. Did you have a question or a comment?
Oh, hi, Karen. Was it Deb? Okay. Thanks, Andy and Bridget. Yeah, I love watching your Saturday walkabouts and really enjoy it. And yeah, like Carole, I also discovered Big Cat Rescue in 2014 through Cambo, through a YouTube video, and then since then being a supporter and a volunteer, online volunteer as well. So my question was, I was quite fascinated by how you two met. So which year was it? That's one question. And the second question is there a story? I'm sure you have lots of amazing experiences with your work at Big Cat Rescue, but is there a story of something unusual or unexpected that's happened that you'd like to share with us?
I guess pertaining to Big Cat?
Right, yes.
Okay, all right.
So to answer your first question, we met online in October of 2001. So next month we'll have known each other for 20 years. And then we met thank you. And then we met in person and began, officially our relationship,
A couple years after that.
2 years after that. So we met in person in 2003 and have been in a relationship, an exclusive relationship, since then. So 18 years we've been together next month.
Yeah.
All right. So what's a wow story? Like, holy smokes, today.
I feel like I should have one on the ready. Do you have any? Do you have one?
Yeah. Most of them are entail like one of the cats scaring the living life out of me. Like walking by Amanda and nobody telling me that, hey, Amanda's over here, don't go over there, sort of thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like in the gift shop changing my drawers because I got yelled at, or, walking by and all of a sudden, oh, hey, there's Kimba, screaming at me because, why not?
I think the most surprising thing that I remember and this is a Risa story. I remember one morning I was doing lockouts before feeding, and Marie was doing meds, and Risa was still with us. And I remember for the first time I had ever seen her get her meds, and that girl hated the operative stick. I had never seen her. Okay, I've got two stories. I had never seen her flipped the switch so fast from being this sweet, beautiful, like cougar that I loved dearly, and in all her chirping glory, and her sweet Ryza-ness, to being this growly, angry, stick slapping cougar who was not happy. And in this, so that was definitely a very surprising thing. And then again, I remember Kali. I was on the feeding tour once as a backup and watching Kali get fed, because she had gone from this sweet, loving, like, oh, she's so cute, she's so wonderful, to all of a sudden the door opened to her feeding lockout, and she was like this growling, snarly, possessive, food-driven girl. And it was really then the realization, both with Kali as, this sort of new, wide-eyed volunteer, with Kali, and then later on as, a sort of more seasoned volunteer dealing with, as far as a keeper with Ryza, just the realization of how fast these cats can, become natural, and how, as much as we love them and as sweet as they look, they have those moments where they are all wild. And it really kind of opened my eyes and made me, remember that they may be in cages and they may have lived around humans their whole lives, but that doesn't mean that they've stopped being wild.
Hey, Bridget, can you tell everybody what the operant stick is so they don't think you were beating a cat with a stick?
Gotcha. Yes, thank you. So an operant stick is... Sorry, I sometimes forget that there may be...
Our language and everybody else's may not align.
So we have this program with Big Cat Rescue called operant conditioning, and basically what we do is we have assigned cats, and we take pieces of meat out to their enclosure, and then we ask them to do things, and when they do those things, they get rewarded with a small piece of meat. So we ask them to come over to the side of the cage. If they do that, they get a piece of meat. And we ask them to lay down. If they do that, they get a piece of meat. We ask them to come into their feeding lockout. If they do that, they get a piece of meat. But in order to safely do that, we have these sort of longer dowels, and that have a very fine point at the end, dowel point at the end, sort of a rounded point, so you can at least get the meat to stick on the end of the stick, and then you can give it to the cat. And so it's a, usually the stick is a happy thing. For Ryza, for whatever reason, before she came to Big Cat Rescue, she may have had some trauma. We're not exactly sure, but for whatever reason, Ryza did not like the operant stick. And so poor Marie, I just remember her being like, I just come into lockout and eat your meds meat here. And she just wouldn't come into lockout. So poor Marie was trying to stick feed her, and Ryza was just so not having any of it. She was truly being a cat at that point in time. She was like, I'm not going to go into lockout and eat here, but I'm also not going to let you try to feed me with an operant stick. So
I wish everybody could see that. You would know exactly what operant conditioning was if this was a video. All the hand motions there, you know exactly what was up.
He's watching me. I'm doing the motions.
Did you have another one? Because I do have a serious one.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. I think the big wow moment for myself was, there was two of them that were very brief, was when I realized that I actually had a place in the gift shop. Which was really cool. That my services were needed, so to speak. And then one day when Carole and I were able to get together and talk a little bit about 3D cameras, that's kind of when things also started to take another turn in a more, I guess, direction that utilized my talents a little bit better. Because all the effort that went into that to get that Big Cat 360 channel going for Lauren in the direction that she wanted to go. So, that was really cool, and being able to be a part of that in that way, and get information out to you guys, at least video out to you guys in better, more engaging ways. I think that was awesome. So, you tapping your finger like, hey, move it along, answer the questions. You just gave like a 30-minute monologue.
I know you. I've seen you work. You'll go on a tangent if you can. I gotta rein it in.
Mind your business. All right.
Thanks, Andy and Bridget.
Thank
you.
Thanks.
Bella, how about you? Do you have a comment or question?
Yes, I do. Oh, very funny, Andy. I love you guys both. My question is for both of you. On a cat that came in, even say the Guatemala boys and all, which one was the most memorable that touched you deeply and also opened your eyes a little more of how they came in and seeing how they grew up to be healthier, stronger cats that they are?
Okay, I've got mine. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it.
Think about yours. Okay. So mine was Hoover. And there were so many reasons for that. Hoover arrived at Big Cat Rescue the same time I did. Like, I was officially a volunteer. I had gone to orientation. I had my shirt. I had my name tag. I had it all. I was ready to go. I was on the schedule. And then shortly thereafter, Hoover showed up. And I was like, oh, he came right about the same time I did. So I sort of felt like this connection to Hoover because he and I landed at Big Cat Rescue about the same time. And then as I spent more time getting to know him and seeing the tiger that he was and being able to kind of watch him experience all of his firsts, his first time on the grass, his first time in the lake, his first time, having a really good breakfast, his first time, assimilating into Big Cat Rescue, like all of his firsts, and watching him be the tiger that he could be. I still think of that video that Carole posts every once in a while about, how he was very smart and he was very mischievous and he was trying to figure out how to get out of that transport cage that was hooked up to the recovery hospital after he had gone into the hospital one time, just trying to figure out how to get out. He was so smart and so crafty, and I remember wanting to give him the best thing that I could, and at that time there wasn't much I could give him. I think Hoover passed either shortly before or shortly after I became a green shirt, and so I was never able to give him senior keeper care, but I remember always wanting to give him the best, and if that meant when I was giving a tour, if he was feeling like he didn't want to be seen, I would hurry, tour groups along, because I felt like he deserved the best life he could have, given that he had been through so much. So that was really where I kind of, it solidified everything I knew Big Cat to be and what I wanted my representation of Big Cat Rescue to be as well.
All right. I think mine would probably be Simba Tiger. Because, I guess, I don't know. It would definitely be Simba Tiger. And I think the reason is that he's kind of the definition of proving how resilient these guys can be. And he went from being in just a god-awful situation where, we've all seen the video of the dude beating them with the pipe.
Well, that was Kimba.
Well, I'm sure they all got their fair share. And he arrives at Big Cat Rescue, and just all of a sudden he's like, "Oh wait, wow! Oh, there's not really a tiny little cage here. What's going on?" And he showed that you could take a cat from a terrible situation, and if you give them something great, they can potentially come back around and be the happiest that they can. Our whole goal at Big Cat Rescue, and I say this even with our cats here, is we try to give them the best possible moment in life that we possibly can give them. And I think with him, he's taking full advantage, and he's loving it right into right up to farting next to Bridget the other day. But it's, and even with somebody like Kimba, who just doesn't really enjoy too many people around. Dude's had a rough go. But even with him, you can tell that he has his moments of appreciating the space that he's in and having a lot more room than he did before. And so I think that would be a thing. But on top of that, it's the people that help them that make that happen, which is kind of one of the coolest things. There is that when these cats come on in, well, I should say we, but I don't know if I can include myself in that. But the keepers welcome them with open arms for the most part, and these guys clearly see it. And I think every time cats come in like that from some crazy destination, it really kind of pours gas on the whole idea of why we do this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks Bella.
Okay, Mary, I apologize. I did not refresh my screen as I always tell everybody to do, and I skipped you, and I am very sorry. So
that's all right.
Go right ahead, Mary.
I just wanted to say I really enjoy Bridget and Andy very much when you do your walkabout. I enjoyed the cat chat today. That was very informative. Thank you very much for taking that up for Carole. I really have no questions right now. I'm just enjoying the stories you're telling. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Hi, Dawn. Did you have a question or a comment?
Hello. Hi, Andy. Hi, Bridget.
Hey, Dawn.
Hey, guys. I wanted to ask about, of course, I'm going to ask, the tunnel tour that Andy took and those chicken nuggets. Come on. I think we have to laugh. So, can you talk about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The chicken nuggets were terrible.
Oh my gosh, I have to give this man major props. I mean, when he does it, like whether it's the tunnel tour or the sickle challenge, the man commits. He fully commits. He goes in, full force. He's committed, and then of course I come in at the end and I sort of tweak things. And I'm like, well, maybe you should think about, wearing some gloves, and maybe you should think about wearing long pants today, and I'm the one who's like, do you want my armband? So that way you don't get cut up by, I don't know, whatever's in there.
I was wearing like half of your clothes that day.
Yeah, you were wearing half. It was like half my wardrobe.
Yeah, I had no idea. I went in completely unprepared on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I if I was to do it again, knee pads.
Oh, definitely knee
proper
pads.
fitting gloves.
Yeah.
I would probably hydrate better.
Yeah.
Because at one point I tripped over something and smashed a camera right in the inside of the cage, and I was like,
do a second take.
Stability. I need more water.
Yes.
All these darn chicken nuggets, vegan things are drying me out here. But no, that was a lot of fun, and it was fairly impromptu. I can't remember who I was speaking with when we were just like the light bulb went off, and we're like, let's do this. It may have been Carole.
I think Carole may have asked for something like that. I think Carole wanted to talk about that. And you were like, I'll do a tunnel tour. And I was like,
possibly.
Okay, I'll stand on the side and feed you chicken nuggets from a brand new bucket that has never been used.
Yeah, I remember it was Catherine or Afton at the time, maybe Afton. And I was like, hey, we're going to do this. Is that cool? And then all of a sudden it was like, we paged everybody up, and we're doing this tunnel tour. And I do remember at one point in time, I'm crawling along there, and it was like right in the beginning, and Carole's figuring out how to fly her drone there, and Carole said something borderline to the effect of "crack is whack, yo," and I'm like, what? And I was like, oh man, I got this drone over me, my pants are falling down, trying to get through this thing. Carole's telling me she can't use half the footage because my butt's hanging out. So that was a lot of fun, and it was really cool because the interns for a little bit, they were like, what's going on, and they realized that we're trying to create something somewhat educational at the same time. We're also kind of goofing off and having a good time, and it was fun.
Everybody was just all in.
It was really good. Yeah, everybody was all in, and I remember Becky was walking along with the bucket, and she was kind of gave me this look, and words didn't have to express anything, and she gave me this look like, I'm kind of uncomfortable feeding you with tongs. and I'm just like, I get it. I totally get it. And by the time that those chicken nuggets actually came out, they were
They were cold.
My God.
And mushy.
Never again. Once, I guess, pro tip for everybody out there, once vegan chicken nuggets are heat up, after that, they're bad.
It's now or never.
Yeah, they're just sawdust. It's so bad. But
did you guys ever read the comments from that live?
We watched.
Yeah.
We sat with Lauren and watched all the comments as they were popping up. So, and we couldn't make any noise because Lauren couldn't turn her microphone off. So anytime we felt like we were going to laugh, we had to like just stuff it deep down inside of us and not make a noise, because all you would have heard was our laughter and none of the audio from the video, because we were sitting there just trying not to. We couldn't even look at each other.
Oh, it was
like
great.
I remember at one point I had my head down and my hand like on my forehead, trying not to look at anybody because I just couldn't keep reading the comments.
I remember when I was editing the video, I was thinking to myself, all right, so I need to find some good music for this. And then I'm like, all right, so I'm going to get this and this because it's like mature, and put this in there. And I got it all set up with like some like a nice rock music or something. And then I watched it a couple times and was just completely dissatisfied with it. I'm like, this now just looks cheesy. And I'm like, I gotta find some different music. And then I found like the cheesiest music on the planet I could find. And I'm like, this is now great. I am happy with this total awesome quagmire of a video. But no, it was really cool. Just seeing in the inside of the tunnels how much space they have and how to move them around kind of gives you a new appreciation when you're actually going through it. Or weed eating it. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'll never have to do that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So that was a fun one.
Thank you guys again. I had to ask because again, that was like a really, really funny video.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thanks, Dawn.
Well, I think right up there with the tunnel tour was the day that you and Dylan ate sickles.
Oh man, yeah.
Whoever was like, Bridget should kiss him. We'll pay to have him. Pay to have her kiss him. And I was just like, whoever that was.
It was such a fun fundraiser though, because it was. We kind of have a rule is that not every week is a fundraising week for us. And the reason for like a hardcore fundraising week, like we're like, hey, everybody donate. And the reason is that when we get to the fun things, we want people to be able to participate and not think it's just like another fundraiser.
The fundraiser.
Oh, jeez. Just give me your AirPod, leave the room, go outside. And so when the sickle pieces came up, especially the tuna sickle, that was, what was the first one that we did?
Salmon first, and then you and Dylan did tuna.
Yeah, the salmon wasn't bad. Actually, the flavors for me, I'm an incredibly adventurous eater. I will eat anything once as long as the person next to me isn't keeled over dead. And so the salmon sickle was fun because everybody was engaged online. Everybody was having fun. We were helping the cats out, and everybody was participating and loving it. And the salmon sickle didn't taste bad. That wasn't the problem. The problem with the salmon sickle was the texture, because of the way that we made it, and because we had to put it in the blender and get it to freeze. The texture was the worst thing ever. Just because it was like fine particles that would like get in between your taste buds, and then
they can't watch.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And then the tuna one, poor Dylan. He was
struggling there at the beginning.
He was a champion. He's like yes. I'm gonna do this.
He's a gentleman and a scholar.
Whether it goes up or down, this whole sickle is going away. Oof. And I'm laughing, cracking up because I didn't have any issue with it. I'm like, I used to eat tuna I still eat tuna from a can. If I'm like in a real hurry, I'll just grab a can and a fork, and that's that. Food is fuel.
And that, people, is my special supplement.
I love you.
All right. So. I think we have a couple more people here.
But I will say, you guys raised a lot of money for the cats.
Oh, that week.
Through that.
Yeah,
that was the match week too.
Yeah, that was the match week. So
So you guys all raised a lot of money for the cats.
Came out in the end, I think, on that video series with the sickles. It was, I think we raised $13,000, and then it came in with a $13,000 match, and so that was $26,000 that week that we made for the cats.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that was really amazing. All for some tuna.
Yeah. So everybody wait. Sardini Martino will be coming up. And, I think I'm gonna rope on in Bonnie on that one. She's like, no, I have no problem with sardines, and I'm like, how about martinis? So we might do literal sardini martinis.
I will not be anywhere on property for that because I will not be doing any kissing.
Oh yeah, you will.
No.
We can have a contest on what will Andy do next.
What will Andy do next? There you go. What dumb thing will Andy eat next? Yeah. Those were fun.
How about you? Did you have a question or comment?
Oh, so many, but I'll limit myself because...
I have a question real quick, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling?
Much better. I had the flu.
Good.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes. So, my question, well, I have one for Andy, but I think he knows what it is.
No, it's not happening anytime soon.
Oh. That cat will eventually get some paint.
Yes.
Yes, eventually Stoney will get painted.
We'll wait until after hurricane season has ended.
Yeah, it's just, the amount of time I can actually spend at the sanctuary, and then, my absent-mindedness of, hey, I need to buy paint to get this done.
I'll remind you to buy paint
also,
when I remember.
And then there's a lot of stuff going on around the lake right now with that nice little algae or whatever that stuff is.
Hydrilla.
Yeah, the hydrilla. So eventually, at minimum, he's going to get painted black at some point, and then hopefully I can get some time to paint him out the rest of the way.
What's your question, Daniel?
Okay, and this might be a little sensitive, but I thought I should ask, with Amanda's passing, I know it hit me hard, and I cried for maybe about 3 hours over Amanda. How do you process grief when you lose a cat at Big?
This is it's very different for the both of us. Wildly different. Do you want me to answer first?
You can go first.
Yeah. You want me to take the whole thing?
No, you can go. All right.
I'll go. For me, for me, it's very different from the majority of people at Big Cat Rescue and the majority of the people that watch us online. For myself, I process grief by moving on immediately. I don't put much emotion. This is going to sound terrible, but it's just how I'm built. I don't put much emotional effort into things that might hurt me in the future. I know that sounds weird. Obviously, if Bridget died, I'd be devastated. If Marzipan died, I'd be beside myself. But when George passed, I was a wreck.
George is one of our cats.
But that's also one of the many reasons why I'm not a keeper. And again, I know this sounds terrible. You guys can hate me if you want, but I don't want to put myself in a situation where I would have to force myself to reason with that. I'm very logic based, and when I have to start dealing with emotional items, it doesn't process well.
It short circuits you a little.
It does. I shut down. I become randomly angry, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then
we're a yin yang of each other, which is one of the ways we work so well. Is that he's the very logical one, and though I am logical and I'm fair to say that I'm intelligent, I'm very emotion based. Like my response to things is more emotional, and his is more logical.
Yeah. It's very bizarre. When people ask us that question, sometimes I feel as though my answers to how I grieve about them is almost never satisfying to people, just because I don't look at the world in the same way as 98% of people out there. It's very robotic, and so it's pretty difficult to explain. But it's not that I don't care. It's just that when I heard about Amanda's passing, to me it was actually, this is exactly how it was. I saw the notification on our internal chat, and I closed my phone, and I made Bridget a drink, and I helped her out with something while she was on the phone with her mom, and I immediately went to thinking about Bridget, because that's where the fallout's going to be. For me, it's I'm moving on. That is what it is. I can't bring an animal back to life, and so for myself, it's I'm not going to put all this energy into for myself being upset. I'm going to take care of Bridget, and that's where I have to go, because you're very emotionally based. That's
and when we lose a cat, for me it's a very different reaction, and I am grateful to have a very logic based partner, because I can be the emotional person that I am. Now, that doesn't mean I always am or I always was. I'm working on it. For a long time, I would do very much what Andy did. For a long time, it was to protect myself and to sort of keep the days that it happens when I'm on property. That's the only thing I can do. Is the cat has passed, I have to keep moving forward, because there are cats that need to eat, and there are cats that need to have their enclosures cleaned, and I have to have my wits about me during those moments. I can't be falling apart and being around a tiger. I can't. So for a long time, it was just put it away and maybe I'll deal with it later. But that's very unhealthy. And compassion fatigue is very real. It gets talked about a lot, but when you are a person who works in animal welfare, compassion fatigue is very, very real. And I assume it's when you work in human welfare as well, but I don't have experience with that. And so now I am really trying to give myself permission to grieve and feel the emotions. And a lot of times that is really, really crying, hard crying. And my second emotion is typically to go towards anger and, upsetness and feeling like it's unfair. I definitely ride the 5 stages of grief. And so anger is not a real pretty emotion. So I never used to let it out. And now we're getting a punching bag in the garage. So that way, when it's time, I can just put on my gloves and go out to the garage and just hammer away at that punching bag until I've worked that out as well. Some people run, some people drink, some people journal, some people laugh about it because that's how they deal with it. As a collective, we all do it in our own way and in our own time. So Friday morning, I was on property. I was there. I had signed up, and I wasn't ready. I was not ready to deal with it, and to keep myself safe, I just had to put it away. I'm done. I've cried, but there's going to be more later. And there always was, and there always is. And so it's allowing that grief to happen in the waves that it does. And I always think of grief like waves. It's like, you get up out of the shore, you're walking onto the shore, and all of a sudden this wave comes from behind you that you didn't expect, and it kind of knocks you down. And you have to stand back up and keep trying to walk out of the water until you're finally, you've broken free of those waves.
Yeah. I think the other way that we do is that we have a tradition is that whenever any of the cats do pass, Bridget and I will usually break the whiskey out and have, a drink to the cat. And
it's a very Irish tradition to drink.
Yeah.
To have a wake, an Irish wake. I mean, we don't get plastered by any stretch of the imagination.
No, we definitely don't.
It's definitely a connection to my heritage, and then also feeling like I'm connected to the animal in my own way.
It's kind of send them off in our own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Thank you for talking about that. I know it's kind of hard, and I know Amanda was not just any cat, and she was special. Well, they all are in their own little way, but I know Amanda was almost 10 years, I think. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to the next Saturday.
Thank you, Daniel.
Barbara, how about you? Do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, wow. Bring down the house there. Okay. No, first of all, I want to say to you, Bridget and Andy, that it is so much fun to listen to how you guys do your stuff, the banter. I mean, bringing Monty Python into Big Cat Rescue. I mean, I'm going, you're coming up with a lot of these references that, I mean, I'm the same age as Carole, and all that stuff I watched when it came out, and so you guys are talking about it. I'm like, yes, and I get the jokes, and I just, and so that's fun, and, I hope you guys always keep that up. But,
we absolutely will.
Yep. But I also is for the longest time when I would see all these rescue things, it was always women. And so thank you, Andy, for being a representative of the men.
Oh, thank you.
No, I just spent an afternoon or this morning with, he's in domestic cats. He's called Trap King, and he does TNR, and he's a black man, and his biggest thing is he says, I gotta get the men in here, and I gotta get the brothers in here, and cats are not just a lady thing, and you're not just a bunch of cat ladies, and so it's really cool to see a guy stepping up and saying represent.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it is very female oriented, isn't it, at Big Cat? But
most animal welfare tends to be a female based population.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. That's an interesting. I mean, it's always been there. I just never really put much thought into digging into why.
Yeah, because I would see all these women, and they're moving a tiger and then the transport cage, and I'm like, it's all women. Wow.
Yeah.
There is a very powerful feeling of being one of those people who moves a transport cage as a female. I work in the lumber industry when as my job, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's cool.
But I work in a very male dominated industry, and it's very powerful to be a female and to be doing all of these things that people would mostly associate men with, like moving a transport cage. You've got to be really strong and tough and powerful, and it's we are those things as women at Big Cat Rescue, and we sort of have to be, because there are so few men. I mean, we have Mark, and we have Rich, and we have Matt, and we have Andy. Is there anybody else I forgot? Dylan.
I hope Dylan.
Dylan. Fred. We have Fred.
There's guys there.
And we've got Jordan and Ryan and what's his name?
You guys have a lot more men in your group than I've seen in many other places.
Yeah.
Victor.
Victor.
Yes, but there's an intern too.
Jordan. Did you get Jordan?
No, I got Jordan. The new intern.
The new intern? I'm not up to speed on my interns.
It's okay.
I'm really
anyway,
not.
we have a nice collection of men, but there's not always a guarantee that we will have a male on property.
Yeah, and getting and one of the other things is that many people try to avoid the camera, and that's I mean we have so many cameras around Big Cat Rescue that a lot of people, when they started, I know that when you and I started, it was our place that separated us from everything else. And over time, with more and more cameras coming online, a lot of the guys there are just, no, I'm good. I really don't want to be on the camera. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I don't mind it. I eat it right up. I love it. Well, ever since the beginning of COVID and not being able to go see my sales consultants, it's more fun to be able to actually feel like there's other people in the world, But yeah, the banter is, I think, an art that we've just kind of created over our relationship.
And that's very real. What you guys see on camera, that is very real. When I'm annoyed with him, I'm legitimately annoyed with him.
Yeah.
When I'm amused by him, I'm legitimately amused by him. When I want to push him into a big giant puddle, I legitimately want to push him into a big giant puddle.
Yeah, it's there's no scripting with any of that. I mean, we do talk a little bit in the beginning about potential things to make the topic of the day, and then usually what'll happen is kind of like with the the podcast today is that somebody will mention something like fur farms, and then all of a sudden we're just completely derailed.
Yeah.
But I have found that, for example, all the Monty Python references. Fortunately, we had parents with incredible sense of humor.
I didn't know Monty Python until you and I started dating.
Yeah, and I remember we played Holy Grail for the first time, and you kind of looked at me like, what is this? And I'm like, just keep watching.
Yeah.
And then you were hooked, and I'm like, and here's the life of Brian, and here's the silly walks, and
so that was, but yeah, everything between the two of us is definitely very real, and it's who we are. It's what what you see on camera is what we're like in real life.
Yeah, we don't really filter it too much. I mean, we have great days, and you'll notice that if you watch, we'll have days where, like, we click the camera on and we both look at each other like we are tired as heck, and then we still have a great day, and then there's days that it just, for some reason, it's just not clicking. And if you watch the videos, you'll know which days it's just not clicking.
There are days that I'm annoyed with you, and I'm like, oh.
I'll hand the camera to Bridge and just go, okay, you go do your thing. I'm gonna open gates for you and play with my phone the whole time, because this is the only way for me not to get yelled at right now. But yeah, it's all incredibly real.
Yeah. I think everybody can tell that you guys are, I mean, when people go playing in water puddles, and Bridget is like, we all, we get it. But no, I'm just glad you guys are you're a great media team.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks. You should tell Afton she needs knee pads when she goes into Simba. Because he bites her in the knee all the time. You ever watch the videos? He bites her in the knee.
Simba hybrid.
Yeah,
Simba hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
He bites her in the kneecap. I'm like, girl, you need knee pads.
I know. Same thing. I'm like, just
For a hot second, I went Simba Tiger, and I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry. What?
No, Afton doesn't go to Simba Tiger.
Okay. I immediately started sweating. I was like, what? What's happening?
Like, the dude's adorable. We try to stay at least 6 feet away from that cage wire. He sprays like crazy.
Yeah, that boy does spray.
Yeah.
So, okay. Gotcha. There it is. Okay. Knee pads.
Okay. Nancy, how about you? Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes. Hi, Bridget and Andy. I love your lives. I love your relationship together and the way you interact. What's the personality quality that each of you likes best about the other?
Aw, Miss Nancy, I love this question.
Mushy question.
I love it. So there's a couple things about Andy that I love most about him. It is definitely not his cooking, I'll be honest. No, not that.
And I'm done here.
I love how fiercely protective he is of me. And that may be sort of an antiquated emotion for 2021. I feel like everybody's so, up and trending, and, it's, that may not necessarily be. I don't need the protection. I don't need him to be protective of me, but I love that quality. I'm not sure I'm as brave as Carole, but I'm definitely brave, and I know, I can stand my own, and I can stand my ground and hold my own. There it is. But I love how fiercely protective he is of me. Like, when he's thinking that someone is giving me grief, he will. Even if it's online, there are moments where we'll be able to see comments before you guys will. And if someone's come at me, Andy will be right there. He's like, nope, shutting this down right now. And he does it in a very mostly tactical way, or tactful way, in that he's like, okay, we're going to get our learn on now, but you're not going to come at my wife. I also love how much he actually loves cats. Like, this man came into this relationship being like, I'm a dog person and I only like dogs and we'll never have cats, to, for those of you that have never seen him with Marzipan, the dude is wrapped around that girl's tiny little whisker. Like, he is full on smitten, head over heels in love with this girl, and he would do anything for her. Not that he wouldn't do those kinds of things for our other cats, but there's something about his connection with Marzipan. So he's very, he's very protective. He's fiercely protective, but he is, if you really get to know him, he puts on this very robotic, logical personality. But when you really get to know him, he is quite like a sweetheart. He is very tenderhearted and very sweet. And those are my two favorite things about him, I think.
It's like an onion.
Oh, man. And he totally makes me laugh.
More,
we laugh so much.
More parfait. Yeah.
Everybody loves parfaits.
Loves parfaits. Until you get to like the hamburger section of the parfait. Most
That's a trifle. Come on, if you're going to quote Friends, get it right now.
Oh, it's a trifle.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to quote Friends to me, get it right.
All right. So I think with Bridge, I think it's twofold as well. I really enjoy seeing Bridget happy. Like, really enjoy seeing Bridget that happy. I mean, obviously everybody loves seeing their significant other happy, but that's like one thing that I try to make some form of an effort to make happen. And with when stuff like like Amanda, Big Cat Rescue happens, that's kind of when I put my marriage selling shoes on, so to speak, and do whatever I can to put a laugh on her face. I mean, 2 hours later, after we got the information, we had friends on over and we were having a great time. Not to mention the fallout didn't come the next day. I mean, it did. But I think seeing Bridget happy is one of the things that makes me, the happiest. But I think Bridget's quality that she gives to everybody else is, the fact that she cares, and a lot. And that's a big one, is that, when you hear us speak, I guess especially Bridge in this example, she means it. She's not leaving anything off the table, and if it is left off the table, it's due to the fact that if she says something, it's going to make her crack. And that's one of the things I love the most, is that she cares and cares and cares, and then until she just can't. I mean, then when you can't care, you still find some way to make an effort to care, which I think is one of the most amazing things. Unlike myself, if I see somebody that needs help and they just don't want my help, I just don't go and bother helping them ever again. Where you're like, no, really, you need my help. Here's a cupcake. And they're like, I'm trying to change a tire. Here's a cupcake. It'll make you feel better. Do you want a bottle of water? Go with that too. I can't break the lug nuts loose. Here's another cupcake. Please smile. So even if it doesn't pertain to the situation at all, you still try to make people happy, and then when they're happy, you're happy too. And when things go south, again, with the whole cat passing thing, you try to make the people around you happy, even though inside it's ripping you to shreds. And I guess that's another thing that a lot of people don't see, is that when stuff hits the fan, you do have your tendency to break down, and that's an emotional thing. But every time that happens, you take the time, you crack, and then you plaster yourself back together harder than you did the last time, and then you get up and do it again. I have
a great therapist, just for the record. She is phenomenal. That's the only way I'm making it through most of these things.
Your therapist is incredible. And so yeah, that's I guess another one there is just Bridget's all-out resiliency to just keep going, and maybe it's healthy and unhealthy at the same time, but
great therapist.
Great therapist does help. Yeah.
But also, my mission, as I said at the beginning, is to help.
Oh, and you put up with my crap.
Oh, I do put up with your crap.
Yeah, and those of you listening, you have no idea how big this mountain of crap is. I have so many crazy ideas all over the place. Many of you obviously know about the wood shop, and then there's virtual reality stuff that we're working on right now, and then there's
by we he means he, not me.
And then there's like the random electronics things, and then there's like just, my gosh, it's just, she puts up with so many oddball little left field sort of projects I want to do, and sometimes I don't know how you keep up. I think you just kind of go like nod your head, go yes honey, and see how this is going to turn out. And if it doesn't, you laugh and point and go, I told you so, and my memory's so bad I can't even tell if you did tell me so or not.
In 20 years I've learned how to manage you in a good way. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, that's a great idea, you should definitely look more into that. And sometimes I'll be like,
I don't think this is a good idea. You should just, put that one away.
So this is kind of like when I nod my head and say yes when I know something is going to go bad, but I just need you to learn the lesson.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, no, go ahead. If I let you on this, you're just going to do it anyway, so.
I'm very strong-willed.
Go big or go home.
I'm very Irish.
Very Irish, very strong-willed.
Yes. So, okay.
That was a long answer.
That was a long answer.
Well, you guys have been absolutely awesome, and I'm so glad that you came on to it's not the Cat Chat show. I'm so glad that you came into the Big Cat room.
That's all right. Thanks for coming to Cat Chat.
So everybody open up your mic and thank Bridget and Andy for coming here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Deb, do you want to give any...
Thank you.
No, everybody make Call of the Wild. Text CATS to 52886.
Yeah, make the Call of the Wild. We're not joking around, people. Let's get this bill passed. If you did not watch Cat Chat this morning, get back on it. Watch Cat Chat. Make the Call of the Wild. Let's get this bill passed.
Here, where's my camera? My Call of the Wild card has been crumpled up.
No. It's not a camera. I don't have a camera. It's audio only. Deb told you.
Yeah, it's audio only.
Yeah.
We agree. It has to get passed.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Well, before we leave this evening, there's just a couple of things. So next week, we are going to be talking about Tiger Mafia in detail. And the reason for that is that this coming Thursday night from 6 to 9 Eastern Time, Tiger Mafia will be shown Carole got this worked out for us. Carole, who was the director, am I right, Carole? Director, producer?
Yes.
Has agreed to let us view the film, and then he's going to do a question and answer afterwards. And so if you are interested and you have not yet signed up for that, you can do that by signing up on the link. If you're on our Facebook page, it's on our Facebook page, but if you're not, or you just can't find the link, my email is in my bio. So if you click on my little flower there, you'll see my email, and you can email me and I will send you the link to sign up for. It'll be a Zoom viewing, and you can sign up to watch that, and then there'll be a Q&A afterwards. So the next Saturday night, the plan is to talk in detail about Tiger Mafia. In upcoming weeks, we've got some great guests coming on. I'm not going to tell you who quite yet, but we have some great guests lined up. And if you have any guest suggestions, please send me an email again, or you can get a hold of me on Instagram. Both of those ways to get a hold of me are in my bio. And I will make that happen. I have a list, and I've contacted a number of people, and I have some lined up and some still waiting. So I'm real excited about that because I think we've got some great guests coming up. I don't have anything else. Carole, do you?
Nope. Just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for those closing comments, Deb, and thank you again, Andy and Bridget. See you guys next week.
Hey, Deb.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Andy and Bridget. I appreciate your time tonight.
You guys are welcome.
Hey, Deb.
Yes.
Is there any way for you to find out if we did sign up for that Mafia?
You would have gotten an email. Telling you that they will send you the link. So look through your email and see if you have an email from them.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, you can. I'm sure if you sign up again, it's not going to be a big deal.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Actually, for Tiger Mafia, it's anybody who is on our mail list will get that link that night or that day. So if you already get emails from me talking about different things at the sanctuary, then you're on the list to get that link.
Okay, great. I am.
That's right, Carole. I forgot that's the way that was set up. I apologize.
Yeah, the other one was done differently, so that's why it was confusing.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So bigcatrescue.org/join. If you are not on that email list, you can sign up there, and then you will get the email that day with the link enclosed in it. If you need that email address or that link to sign up, email me, and I'll be happy to help you with that. All right, guys, we have gone over by almost 20 minutes tonight. So thank you guys all for being here, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.